Not that long ago, I was sitting in an outdoor cafe in London enjoying the near-perfect weather that you occasionally get in June in London. And not far from me were a group of 20-something people, three men, 2 women, who were obviously talking about some type of business discussion, some type of business deal. And it was a nice day. I was enjoying my cappuccino, so I was eavesdropping and listening to what they were up to. And the 3 men were dominating the discussion. They kept talking and sharing, and the women were leaning in, as in to listen carefully, but they weren't leaning in the way that Sheryl Sandberg wrote about in her book of that title. They were silent. And I was just about ready to get up and go do something else. And finally, one of the women spoke up, and what did she say? She actually asked one of the men a question, and that was it. And I walked away feeling a little discouraged because if that's really what's going on, what is the opportunity for women to take charge and to become effective leaders? Now, I know it's a small story. It's one little kind of isolated incident. But the truth is that there's now a lot of evidence of the differences between men and women in the office, at work, and as leaders. And one of the things we discover is that women very often are not nearly as active as men, maybe because of upbringing, maybe there's some genetic issue, maybe there's some bias or discrimination. But you know what maybe the biggest factor is? Because they choose not to be stronger. They choose not to adjust and take a bigger lead. And that's a harsh statement maybe, but a challenge. The truth is self-confidence is a choice that we make. I mean, would you rather be liked or respected? It turns out that one of the reasons why women get paid less than men is because they don't push back to ask for that raise, to ask for more money. Men are not holding back as much. There's discrimination, to be sure, don't get me wrong, but one of the factors happens to be that women are not asking for raises and not asking for raises well enough. How about responsibility and whether you want to take on that next job? It turns out there's a difference between men and women in that regard as well. If your boss creates an assignment or gives you an opportunity, do you take it? It's a big leap, it's a big challenge, it's a little bit unclear if it's going to work. Most men are going to say, yes, of course I could do it. They won't hesitate. They're going to have that confidence. Many women will think about it, will internalize it, and will say, maybe that's not the right thing to do. Maybe, I'm not quite ready for that. And while women might be more accurate than men in assessing their capability or their readiness for this, the mere fact that they hesitate, that they're not as willing to take that risk, means that they're not going to get that opportunity, and it means they're not going to move up as fast. And how about perfectionism? Here's something that is another difference. I mean, I'm a big fan of perfectionism. I think it's great. Who doesn't want to be perfect? But that quest for perfectionism can get you into big trouble because it means you're not willing to make a mistake. It means you're not willing to take a risk. And here again, there's research to indicate that men and women are different with respect to their embrace of attempting to get everything just right. All of those factors play a role. I'm not saying it's the only things that are going on, but those are all, if you think about that, those are all self-inflicted limitations that women put on themselves that make it more difficult for them to. Here's the real complication. Most people, media included, boards of directors, they want that strong leader. They want that take charge leader. They want that Enron-like leader. Well, we know that doesn't always work out, and that's the irony in this. That's the irony in all this. When you're rewarded for taking the risks, for grabbing the next responsibility, and you move up faster and faster, you can easily get into the C-suite. You can easily get into a very senior management position where, in fact, you are now, well, maybe you think you've got it all figured out. Maybe you've done a lot of things, you've got this confidence, and self-confidence, as I'm arguing, is a really great thing, but there is something called overconfidence. There is something like going a little bit too far. And as I think about it, maybe I personally would like to see more women in the C-suite because that balance, that maybe a little bit greater humility, that willingness to kind of weigh the pros and cons, that's the type of person you want in the CEO's job or in the C-suite or in the board of directors, because that's the type of person that's going to really think things through and be less rash. And the man that's moved forward quickly by taking job after job starts to believe their own press, starts to believe, like the venture capitalists used to say, they breathe their own exhaust. They don't believe there's any problem with anything that they've ever done. And so the irony is that those things that help you get to the top, which are more male-oriented tactics or mindset, as opposed to female-oriented tactics, when you get to the very top, can actually hurt you, and you'd rather have the more balance. So all this says, look, there are differences between men and women. I think women need to grab the opportunity, need to be more aggressive, need to challenge more. But when you get to the very top, some of that humility and balance is actually a good thing and not a bad thing. And maybe that's where the rub is. That's where the challenge is. We want both.